Great. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, actually, good evening, everybody. I am Julian Cuevas or Julian Cuevas, and I'm running for Dixon School Board. I know we're going to be going through a set of questions here in a few moments. So just a little bit of background on who I am. I've spent the last 15 years in public service, public policy, and community engagement, most of which has been within the nonprofit and philanthropic sectors in executive roles. And more recently as a director of government affairs for the California Department of Education. I was appointed by the state superintendent of public instruction, to Mr. Torlakson, as his legislative policy rep initially. And then when the current superintendent took over the department, was promoted to the director of government affairs role. So very familiar and understanding, implementing and advocating for not only our 6.2 million students, but our over 300,000 teachers and over 1,000 school districts. On a personal note, right, my wife is a speech language pathologist. We've got 3 kids. We like to joke, say, 3 kids, 3 and under. My oldest is 3, who's in preschool. I have a 1.5-year-old and a 1-month-old. And so for me, it's personal in ensuring that our public education system is certainly in the best position possible for them to ensure that they are receiving the best public education that they can, and also advocating for the students here in Dixon. And this is my hometown. This is personal for me. I grew up here. I went to school here. My family's public service history goes back to the late 1970s. Where my father was a police officer for the Dixon Police Department, and my mom classified staff at the Dixon Unified School District for 30 years. A little feedback, but in any case, my goal here is to continue in the family business, right? To give back to my community here that has given me so much, and ensuring that the goals and the standard policies are always prioritizing our students, teachers, and families.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to welcome Jenna Lee Dawson.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Jenna Lee Dawson. I am one of the candidates running for the City of Suisun City Council. I'm a first-time candidate. I have been active here in Solano County. I'm a lifelong resident. I have lived here in Suisun for 30 years of my life. Over the last 15 years, I've been very active in the community. I am currently serving as a Community Services Division Director for California Human Development, which is a pretty large nonprofit across Northern California in about 31 counties. So I do all of the Community Services Division, reporting federal governments, grant writing, community needs assessments, ensuring we're in compliance with CSD, Community Services Division, and implementing needs assessments and work plans to develop programs directly for at-risk populations. My specialty is in housing. I'm a boots on the ground case manager and social worker for older adults, which I've been doing for 13 years. So here in Solano, I've been an advocate on the front line, advocating for senior issues, victims of violence, sexual assault, pretty much everything that has to do with violence prevention and older issues. And I've just been doing the work for the last 13 years. I am a mother of 3. I have one in elementary school, middle school, and high school. I myself was a mother at 16, and it kind of changed the trajectory of my life. I kind of had to get it all together. Being in affordable housing and using a lot of the safety net programs, I was able to get myself back into school. To date, I have 3 bachelor's degrees, 2 masters, and I'm currently a candidate for my PhD in Human and Social Services with a focus on creating healthy relationships and family dynamics. So that is a little bit of my background. I am just a public servant, and I decided to take on another role to kind of give back to my community and bring my heart, my soul, and the work that I'm already doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenna Lee. Welcome, Greg Ritchie.
Thanks so much, everybody, for the opportunity. Just a little bit of a disclaimer. I'm still going to lose my voice, so if it starts to go out, please, I will end early. But trying to keep with the theme. My name is Greg Ritchie. I'm a current Backwell City Council District 2, and I'm the incumbent running for the position. I was a part of a special election, which I had to run. And so I fell right back at it and run it again. very interesting. I was born and raised in Vacaville, really have a passion for the city. Went through the whole public school system, Orchard, Jefferson, Vacaville High, and just really love the community that I grew up in. To follow my family, my mom actually is a sorority sister of Miss Chapman for the AKA, and she did 42 years of special education throughout Solano County. Retired at California Drive at Larson Center. My dad was a African-American Air Force pilot. He flew to the end of Vietnam, ended up flying here at Travis Air Force Base after retiring, and from Travis worked about 27 years as the second licensed African-American real estate agent in Solano County. Following kind of the footsteps of service and entrepreneurship, I have opened up and started my own mortgage company. So now I'm serving the Solano County community, Los Angeles, and Riverside. My passion really to run in the first place was really like kind of the quote from Jackie Robinson: in order to affect change, you got to be the change. And I really did not like the trajectory of the way the country was going. As being a person that I grew up in Vacaville and being a minority and a super minority back when I was growing up as a kid, it really touched me. Sorry, to see this community where I felt like the last 2 years we had a lot of arrows going to their
Thank you
camp.
so much.
Okay.
That is okay.
Nancy Dunn, welcome. Nancy, you were muted. Nancy, can you unmute yourself? Would you like to have us come back to you? Let me go on to the next person and I'll come back and see if you're able to join us. Jason Roberts?
Yeah, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, I did. Julie, you got the timer going already?
Got it.
All right, awesome. So my name is Jason Roberts. I'm a current Vacaville City Council member for District 5. And I decided to throw my name in the ring to run for mayor of Vacaville this year with the current mayor not seeking re-election. My background is emergency preparedness and disaster response. Been doing that professionally for almost 9 years now. I'm also a 15-year Army veteran, currently an officer in the California National Guard. And so I have a lot of varied leadership experience to bring to Vacaville City Council and hopefully as a mayor. My big primary goals for Vacaville is it's a holistic approach because a lot of people like, oh, public safety, economic development, schools, but all really ties in together because without one, or if one fails, all of them fail. They all play into each other and need to feed into each other. And so a city council member and a mayor especially needs to learn how to balance that and look at data and listen to the community in order how to apply funds and staffing effectively. Like I mentioned, big thing of mine is emergency preparedness, and I believe Vacaville does have a decent amount of work to do. I think our public safety does a good job in response to the disasters, but we also need to inform the entire community because like what we witnessed when we had to evacuate 50,000 people, effectively half the town, it became a little bit of a mess. So one thing I'd like to do is really push forward with the emergency preparedness aspect in terms of the community and what they can do and provide. And with all those things, looking at it from a fiscal responsibility standpoint, it's the citizens of Vacaville's money, so we have to be responsible to it. Like my mom, my family members are all taxpayers, and I want to use their money responsibly and provide good services for that. And that's all I have. Thank you.
There you go. Nancy Dunn? You know, that's funny because Nancy was talking with us before the meeting and I am wondering why she is having issues right now. We will continue and go on to,
She is
Uh,
rejoining.
I'm sorry?
She is rejoining.
Okay, let's give her a moment.
She's unmuted. Can you hear her?
Are you ready for me?
Yes.
I apologize. I just muted you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yay, technology. Woo! Okay.
I will
Hi,
start
so-
the timer.
I apologize. So my name is Nancy Dunn, and I am running for Vacaville Unified School Board Area 1. And I am excited at the possibility of taking this next step in my fierce devotion to public education. I am a second career teacher. I had a whole nother life, and 25 years ago, I decided to pursue my passion and became a teacher in public education. And I have taught in Fairfield Sassoon Unified School District for the last 25 years. The last 6 years, I have been on a full-time release out of my classroom to be the president of the Fairfield Sassoon Unified Teachers Association. And in that role, I have learned that who sits on the board is important. It's important to have a diversity on the board. And certainly there needs to be an educator with that lens at the policymaking level. The incumbent who filled those shoes has decided not to run. And so I decided it was time for me to step up into public service as I was winding down my career in the classroom. I am the daughter of an immigrant. I have a lot of different things that I bring to the table, including a lot of experience, but mostly a fierce advocate for students. My goals are to return as much decision-making as possible to the site level so that the community and the families and the students really have a say in their schools. Second is to retain the very best school staff possible. And third, to make sure that they are all safe, both mentally and physically. So those are the reasons that I am running for school board. And I think it lines up very well with my lifelong democratic values. So the party helped make me, and now it's time for me to do my share by stepping forward.
Thank you, Nancy. Chauncey Banks?
Hello.
You have 2 minutes to tell us a little
I
bit
got 2
about
minutes.
yourself, Chauncey.
Okay,
Welcome.
thank you. Thank you for the boy. I appreciate it. My name is Chauncey Banks. I'm here at the mall in Fairfield where I hold my business at. It's called the Funky Chicken. I built the Funky Chicken up 25 years ago, and I brought it back after 19 years. And I lived in Fairfield for the last, well, I've been in Fairfield all my life, so not really for the last part of becoming. I'm sorry, I scribbled a little bit. Let me rewind a little bit. So I have lived in Fairfield my entire life. I graduated from Army High. I got a healthcare degree in management, and I have witnessed the decline of Fairfield over the last 30 years. I have seen virtually no growth in so many areas. Economic stimulation and growth opportunities will bring in a fresh source of revenue, create more jobs, allowing Fairfield to reach a new economic heights. Okay, so that saying is that I'm going to be running for the candidate of mayor in Fairfield, California. And what I see, some of the things and opportunities that I could do for the city of Fairfield is, one, is guide the youth. I've been working with the youth for the last 15 years. And what I did was I volunteered to be a coach for some football teams. I volunteered to track and field. So I'm really, really into the kids. And also I'm brand new at this. I just want to let everybody know. And I apologize for my stuttering all across the way. But I would love to create opportunities and have resources for where the kids could grow and where they could learn. I get a lot of questions. I like to ask the questions instead of me telling what I'm gonna do for the city. And one of the things I want to do for the kids is to have, I see that 15 seconds, is to have resources where they could be somewhere
I
you.
know.
All right. Yeah. Hey, I'm a rookie. I like that.
No,
I
you
got to
got
warm
it.
up. I appreciate it.
You did great. You did great,
Thank
Chauncey.
you.
Thank you for
I
finishing
appreciate it.
right on time.
Thank you. All
Okay,
right.
we have two more people on my list, but I am not thinking that I have seen either one. I'm going to just ask if Doug Carr is here. I did not see him in the waiting room. Or Ian Arnold.
Let's see. Okay. Well, if anybody wants to call them.
That's fine. Then that means that we have, I think, heard from all the candidates. We heard from most of them last month, and we have heard from the remainder tonight. Thank you all for making your 2-minute presentations this evening. And for those that did it last month, thank you. And thank you to all the candidates who submitted their candidate endorsement forms to us, which were then shared with all of the membership so they could learn a little bit more about each one of you. We're now going to be beginning our 5-minute questioning period for each candidate. The order of the candidates and their races will be the same as the polling we will do when we go through the voting for endorsements. Treasurer Don Lowry will keep track of the time, and Vice President Ralston Thomas will ask the questions that you all can submit via Zoom. Let's begin. And we're going to be beginning with Dixon Unified School District. And our first candidate that will be answering questions for 5 minutes will be Jewel Fink. So if you have questions, please put them in the chat now. We'll wait about 30 seconds.
And Jewel is already unmuted. Excellent. This off is I am repeating in my head, so I'm gonna try to actually be able to hear. Okay, so my first question for Jewel is, what will you do differently this term to engage students and families?
Shall I start?
Go for.
Yes.
Okay, because I can't, I'm just up in a corner there. Well, I'm an incumbent. I've been on the board for 4 years, and I attended the 3 weekend-long training by the California School Boards Association, training us how to be on the board. And of course, just like anything else, teacher training or whatever, it's when you're actually doing it that, you know, the rubber hits the road. I'm not so sure that I would do anything differently. I want to stress to everyone that the board is you know, you are only one vote. So even if you want to do something differently, you have to work with the other members of the board. What I am going to stick with is supporting the district's mission and supporting, especially supporting students and families that are underserved. We're doing a lot of good work. I think that the community is not aware of the makeup of our student population, and that you have to, what I want to do, not differently, but emphasize, is that we want to serve all students. All students are capable of meeting our goal to be college and or career ready for success. And that's where my focus is going to be, to make sure that that happens.
Okay, our next question is, what is an important thing you feel needs to be addressed?
Well, you know, there are so many issues that need to be addressed. And I guess I would start with the fact that it's been very difficult. And I don't know if it has to do with the pandemic. And we certainly are not in any place like large districts like Sacramento or other districts that have that are 100 staff people short. But we, especially in the area of special ed, which requires a specific credential, we are short teachers. We are short groundskeepers. We are short carpenters. We are short people not only in the certificated area, but in the classified area. And we join all the other districts in California that are in the same boat. And somehow that has to be changed. And if it means at the state level, that the state changes some of the requirements for a teaching credential. For example, if you have a teaching credential from another, like Illinois or New York, you have to start all over again and get a waiver. And the waiver means that you then have to get your teaching credential in California. And I think that's something that needs to be changed.
Who would you say are the underserved in your school district?
Well, we have homeless, we have foster children, and a majority of our students are Hispanic, and and anyone that is low income, I think, it's not
15 seconds left.
that we're not trying to serve them, but they are underserved in many ways. For example, just a little thing like every student in the district got a Chromebook, but
That's time.
okay, but they didn't maybe have access to use the Chromebook in their home. So those are kinds of things that have to be changed.
Thank you, Jewel. We are now going to move on to Julian Cuevas. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Hi.
Thank you for having me.
We will allow a little time for people to ask some questions, but I do have a question to start us off. What do you plan to do differently in regards to communications with families and teachers?
Yeah, I appreciate that question. Thank you. Well, first and foremost, that's one of the areas of priority for me is ensuring that our public education system is equitable and accessible to our families, parents, and students. First things first, what we have to do is we need to acknowledge the fact that our Dixon Unified School District is made up of over 61% Latino students. About 35% of our households in Dixon are Spanish-speaking households, yet we do lack in communication with our Latino community. It's going to take a little more than just translating flyers for our families to understand what's happening in the district. We actually need to do better outreach. So for me, I would ensure that first and foremost that we're leaning on our PTOs at each one of our school sites. It's ensuring that we're actually utilizing our parent liaisons and building stronger coalitions of support so that we're working in tandem together and not in a siloed fashion. And I think be a little more innovative, right? I think it would actually prove to be beneficial to actually hire a sort of PR professional that would be able to actually better communicate out to our families in a timely fashion and actually be accountable to the work that we're doing in serving our community, teachers, classified staff, and our students.
So in your form, you say that you provide parents and families with the tools, skills, and resources to help their kids succeed. What do you see as those tools, skills, and resources?
Yeah, so, once upon a time, I used to work for a nonprofit organization out in San Jose called the Hispanic Foundation of Silicon Valley, where really my top job was parent and family engagement, working with school districts up and down the peninsula, and partnering with an organization called the Parent Institute for Quality Education, also known as PIQE. It's an organization that focuses on training parents and families on just how to better understand how the public education system works, not so that they can understand how calculus and chemistry and all that good stuff works on their end, but more so how do you keep your kids accountable? How do you best support your kids? What are A through G requirements? Really just provided them with the tools that they need so that they can help their kids maneuver the public education system so they can get to and through college, the workforce, an apprenticeship program, whatever that may be.
Okay, and I'm actually going to steal a question from previously. During the pandemic, so many students fell behind. What do you think should be done to help those students catch up?
Well, there's a plethora of things that we should be doing, right? I think first and foremost is we do need to be cognizant of the fact that we're not out of this pandemic yet, right? We're going to see how this is going to be tested later this fall, but ultimately making sure that there's a plan in place. So if we do have to go back to remote learning once again, what does that look like? Is there an actual plan in place where teachers and classified staff are prioritized, ensuring that they're safe and being able to teach and support students? Do students actually have the technology and the access they need to be able to get their assignments as needed through portals? Do they have access to the Zoom accounts that they need? So many stories, coming out of multiple school districts on a lack of accountability and plans being put in place to ensure that it's seamless. So really, bottom line is the foundation in place? We're 2 years plus into this pandemic. There's no reason for us to be thinking about, well, what does this look like later this fall? It should already be in place.
Okay. And then how would you address the shortage of teachers?
We need to be more marketable. I think when you look at Dixon Unified School District, we are toggled in between Davis and the rest of the Bay Area. Dixon tends to be the forgotten town, the forgotten school district. But I think we could certainly improve on how we actually become more competitive in our region. How are we paying our teachers and classified staff a fair wage? Are we actually sharing the successes of what we are actually accomplishing with our teachers and our students? The successes that are in place, the programs that we actually are offering. How are we competing with the rest of the region?
15 seconds.
Thank you. What we're seeing here is that a good chunk of families are sending their kids to school districts outside of Dixon. I want to be the envy of the region where parents outside of Dixon are sending their students here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our last candidate for Dixon Unified is not here tonight, so we are going to move on to Fairfield Suisun Unified School District, District 5. Jack Flynn. Welcome, Jack.
Thank you, Jeannie. I appreciate the opportunity.
Okay. Thank you, Jack. We'll let everybody ask a couple questions in the chat, but I do have a starting question. So in your candidate information guide, you were talking about additional counselors and the need for those. How would you secure the funding for those additional counselors?
So let me say with that, I think that what's important is you be able to have those working relationships. I think that there's this assumption out there just because I'm 18 that I'm going into this very new. I have been working in politics since I have been 12 years old. Many of you have known my commitment to this party. And because of that, I have working relationships with our County Board of Education, with our state partners. That's why I was endorsed by Tiffany Jones, who's the Assembly District Director for Assemblymember Lori Wilson. I have been working with our federal partners like John Garamendi and Mike Thompson. So to be able to do that, it's a very ambitious project, but it can be done if you're able to collaborate with our state, federal, local leaders to secure that funding. We can apply for grants, but to do that, again, you need that collaborative spirit. And I am willing to work with pretty much everyone to get the job done when it comes to, because it's so important. I mean, look, if you're having a mental health crisis on a Monday, you shouldn't have to wait till Thursday to see a counselor. It's very important that you have access to mental health resources whenever and wherever you need them. And I will take that collaborative spirit so that we can deliver for our students.
Well, seeing no questions in the chat yet, I will ask a couple from our previous ones. What do you see as the opportunities for communication with families and teachers in the district?
So I'll tell you, I think that when it comes to communication and families, I've been a student in the district. I see that what good communication is having those relationships and being able to go to a school site. There have been times I've been able to visit, kids I know, and it's not even me having to introduce myself. It's, hey, Jack, great to see you again. And that's really important, to be able to have that working relationships with the students, with the parents, with the teachers as well. I'm the only candidate endorsed by the Fairfield Sassoon Unified Teachers Association. I've also been endorsed by many of our parent leaders, including our some previous leaders, our parent organizations. I've also been endorsed by a lot of our students, including our former student board member, Chantel Martino. So, I have that collaborative spirit, and I will be able to someone who is able to proactively reach out to our community and ask what do they need, and so that I can deliver for them. And I will do that as your next board member.
Awesome. And then walk us through your vision for public education.
So public education is the cornerstone for any society, in my opinion. I think that if you have a decent society, it's because you invested in public education. You took that initiative. And my vision for public education is, number one, a vision where teachers are paid fairly, where we listen to every decision we have. We always listen to our teachers. Again, I'm the only candidate endorsed by the Fairfield Sassoon Unified Teachers Association, which is our California Teachers Association affiliate. I also see a public education where parents are concerned in every decision-making process. Again, I've been a student in this district. I know that parents need to be involved in that process. I also know that we need to listen to our other education partners, like our classified staff, making sure that we pay them a decent wage and that we compensate them fairly. And I also see a public education where art and music is prioritized, where we make sure career technical education opportunities are available, and a education where when we have any employees who are going on strike, that we support them. I really am the only pro-labor candidate in this race. I was endorsed by the Central Labor Council. I know that we need a pro-labor dog in the fight.
That seems to be all questions. Here. Oh, we got one more. How do you plan to address the needs of students in alternative education and the school to prison pipeline?
Thank you, Alice, for that question. I think that when we talk about underserved communities and making sure that we abolish the school to prison pipeline, I think it's important that we take a collaborative and holistic look at that. It's important that we make sure that we are looking at discipline, that of course that bullying's not allowed, but we have seen so many cases where for a very small infraction, you can see kids that are just overly punished for no reason other than this tough law and order approach. I believe that we need to work collaboratively, and that means listening to every party that's been involved. It means, again, working with our state and local partners, and also for kids that have discipline issues, that we still make sure that they have access to opportunities and resources. For too long, if you are in alternative education, your country has a back burner issue that, we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to see you. And if you're one of those kids, the message is we don't care about you. We don't think you have a future. We don't want to invest in you. And I want the message.
That's time.
Okay. Thank you, Don.
Thank you, Jack. Your opponent, Jonathan Richardson, I have not seen him in the waiting room and do not see him on the screen. So we are going to continue on to Travis Unified School District. And our first candidate is Will Wade. So please put your questions for Will in the chat.
Make them hard, but I don't know if I need to make them as hard as the ones Jack got. Great job, Jack.
Okay, well, first we go off of your questionnaire. So what is your plan to support mental health in schools?
Absolutely. I think we talked about what COVID effect was, and we talked about all the health implications and the physical security of our students with regard to health. But I also think mental health has been a critical issue that COVID has highlighted. And fact of the matter is, I think our youth have forgotten, nor were they taught how to interact with each other healthily. And therefore, I think it's really important that we encourage that interaction throughout the school systems, and also as parents, as staff, as teachers, as administrators, also to reinforce the fact that relationships are important. We've talked about collaboration through and through, and really the only way that you can identify, address, and also mitigate mental health issues are to have a physical and emotional connection with the members involved. And once you've identified it through friend or family networks, then you need to have a support staff in place to be able to provide adequate professional training. We all are not trained counselors, and we need to be able to refer them, folks who need help, to the professionals as soon as possible.
Okay, what is the plan to deal with the lack of adequate classroom space at Cambridge?
Here, here. Great question, Janet. I appreciate it. I think that was planted. So obviously there's challenges in our district as the demographics have changed. Primarily they were on base originally, and now with local construction, the population density has changed, but the schools have not been updated since 1960. For those who don't know, we have bond measure M on the ballot this election. And in my opinion, bond measure M starts to address some of the changes in the district that are required, and specifically with regard to modernization, update, and eventually addition to the facilities that exist to accommodate the changing population density within our district. And measure M again is the first of many probably opportunities to do so, but we hope that measure M will help to specifically address some of the classroom shortages at Cambridge, in addition to some of our other schools within the district.
So during the pandemic, many students fell behind. What is being done, and what do you think needs to be done to get those students back up to grade level?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of work for us all to do. You know, and we over rely on the teachers. I think we over rely on the school board, but we all as a community have to invest within to the younger generation, and we need to be there for them. So that comes down to not only support within the classroom, but support at home. We need to encourage parents to be involved. We need to encourage parents to understand that how their children are prepared for school at home applies to how it is in the classroom. We can't put all that responsibility purely on the teachers alone. So we need to make sure the community is working strongly for our children, for our teachers, for our staff and administrators, so they're set up for success in the classroom to ensure that our children get the education that they desperately need.
And then what is the best way to approach quality dynamics when substitute teachers are employed?
Oh boy, I'm not sure exactly the take on that one, but obviously, you know, teacher shortages are an issue, not only with our full-time teachers, but with the substitute teachers. And kind of like to Jack's question, which is, hey, how do we ensure we have the best talent out there? I think we need to actively not only market through adequate pay, but we also need to invest into our teachers, both full-time and part-time, and let them know how important their job is, and more importantly, how much they're appreciated. And through that internal, you know, appreciation, I think will show the teachers that in fact they are critically important to our community, and we'll also be able to, on the flip side, be able to recruit actively teachers to fill our critical classrooms.
Okay, and then bullying is an epidemic in schools. How would you address and protect the students?
Oh man, yeah, bullying. You know, I don't think we'll ever stamp out bullying, but all we can do is do our best for our children. And bullying in today's society is entirely too easy via social media. All right, I think I see it, Don, 15 seconds. And I think we need to take an active look at how social media affects our children, both in class and out of class. And we need to hold bullying, our bullies accountable, but yet we also need to support folks and teach them what right social interaction looks like in person and online.
Thank you, Will.
Thank
I
you,
believe
Jean.
that. I think that was our time. So
Perfect. Can we please have Rita Deanda?
Good evening, everyone, and thank you.
get a chance to get some questions asked. Sorry, we have teething babies in the house. So what is an important issue in your school district that you think needs to be addressed?
Well, I think for a lot of the school districts, it's learning loss during the pandemic, and I don't think we've gotten a good handle on it. I'm a big believer in statistics and finding out exactly where the issue is. Teachers are kind of the front line. They can get a day-to-day reading from the children in terms of where they should be and where they're at. However, because they haven't been in the classroom for a long time, we really haven't had any standardized testing to find out exactly where that loss is and how to effectively counter it. I want to make sure we dive deep into our local control accountability plan, which lays out all our priorities in our school district in terms of how we're going to address all these issues. It's a very detailed plan that you go on the website and you can see it. And you can find out exactly what is being done in each one of the areas. So that's something that needs to be done. And it is something that we talk about at every board meeting. It's top of mind for everybody in the school district. And I agree with Mr. Wade. Parents need to be involved too and concerned and get active in their schools through the PTA or any other way that they can. I know sometimes it can be hard for parents who work, but as much as you can, it's your child's future that we're looking at.
Okay, and then going back to Jeanette's question from before, what is the plan to deal with the lack of adequate classroom space at Cambridge?
Well, my grandkids go to Cambridge, and so I know the situation there directly. We're in portables. That's not acceptable. And we just recently upgraded the portables. We had 25-year-old portables there. And I totally support the Measure M that we as a board voted on. It's going to be on the ballot this year. And we have $254 million of need in our district. Our bond is $64 million. So even though it can address a lot of the issues, it's obviously not going to take care of everything. I keep saying, we believe in education. I totally believe in public education. It's what made this country great. However, we tend to not put our money there. And that's what we need to do. If we can get the bond measure, we can actually get matching dollars from the state of California. And that would get us up to 120 million. But without that bond money, we can't do it. We currently have about $9 million in our facilities fund, which has to be used for all kinds of maintenance issues and not just for building. And obviously $9 million isn't going to build a school. It takes over $24 million to build a new school.
Okay, what are you most proud of accomplishing as an incumbent?
I feel like I come to every board meeting prepared. I look at the agenda. If there's items on there that I'm not aware of, that I have information that's lacking for me to make an informed decision, I contact the superintendent and ask her to have staff talk to me about what I'm missing. I also always try to read materials about education on the outside just to see what other people are doing or what the professionals in the field talk about. I've also am a member of the California School Board Association, like Jewel is, and attend a lot of their classes, look at a lot of their materials to find out what's kind of going on throughout the state. So that's what I really feel like I come prepared, and this is important to me. This is not just a 1 month a day job, because that we only meet monthly, but I feel like I kind of live and breathe it throughout the whole month. And so I bring that experience, and I think it's important to have that on a board.
Okay. And then how do you plan to address the needs of students in alternative education and the school to prison pipeline?
Travis has an excellent tech program. It is a model school. It's been acknowledged by the state of California. It is a fantastic program. We do not send our students to day school or to the Golden Hills at all, unless we absolutely have to. Our students are done there at Tech. We have 85 students right now. We have 5 in a day program. And the atmosphere there is wonderful. There's all kinds of positive enforcement all over the place. The staff is incredible. They talk to the students individually. They know them. A lot of these students actually, some of the students can go back to Vanden if they wanted to. A lot of them don't want to. They like that one-on-one connection that they have at our alternative high school.
15
And
seconds.
a lot of them graduate early. They graduate with, I've seen graduations of juniors. And so they're very well motivated. And so I wouldn't really do anything differently at our school.
Okay.
Thank you, Rita. Now I saw
You're
that Jonathan Richardson has entered the meeting, and we're going to circle back and pick him up. He is the second candidate for Fairfield Sassoon Unified School District, District 5. Jonathan, we are doing our 5-minute questioning period. If you can join us.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome. I'm glad you could be here. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Julia.
Oh, I was gonna give it a minute.
Yep.
Or any questions in the chat, but I do have a question from your questionnaire. What will you do differently this term to ensure more diversity in hiring?
So what we I say, because as a board individually we came to a consensus that when we look at the diversity of our district as far as the demographic, it's important to make sure staff ratio to student ratio match, and it's very because without doing we fail how we can reach both in academic aspects, also in their social emotional. When we have students that don't have the opportunity to see staff like them, it's extremely challenging to reach them and reach them in the community.
Can we pause the timer?
Yeah.
Your audio is breaking up just a bit. Is your connection okay? Or
It's that 1 second.
okay.
Okay, can you hear me now? There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes, let's try again. Julia, can you can you ask that question of him and we'll let him start over?
Yes. What would you do? Sorry, what would you do differently this term to ensure diversity in hiring?
So diversity in hiring, what the focus has been since I've been on term has to be very intentional about where we go to recruit our staff and those individuals that are going to come and be a part of the district. Specifically, since we were looking at the diversity of our district, recently I was instrumental in helping to make a decision that we would immediately begin recruitment at HBCUs, historically Black colleges across the country and other areas of the country in order to recruit those staff members who would be able to come and help us to balance out our diversity in district. Now, if we look at this from a meaningful perspective, it's extremely challenging for us just to change who we are today to what we should be tomorrow. But with the attrition and with those people that are retiring, we have a wonderful opportunity to begin to be very intentional about who we reach out to and how we plug them into the district to help to solidify our efforts in diversity.
How do you feel about incorporating civics education into the curriculum, both as a way to halt political apathy and promote good citizenship?
So as a communication major, well before I was on the board and while I was serving in the military, there was something very unique that I learned about intercultural communication and intercultural sensitivity. When you don't understand what other cultures have experienced, whether it be negative or positive, or even their contributions to civilization, it's very difficult for you to be able to be inclusive and sensitive to what things are offensive, what things are supportive, and what things help to galvanize people together. One of the things that's been very important for my life is what it is that I learned while serving across the world in different countries. There are so many different people that you have an opportunity to meet. You get to learn about how they were raised, the things that they embrace culturally, and ultimately what helps them to move forward with the legacy that their parents and generations ahead had instilled into them. So when we look at education, what we bring to the table as a multi-ethnic culture is essential to helping us move forward in civics, but also helps us to move forward in community.
Okay, walk us through your vision for public education.
Public education is simply this. When we look at students and what their needs are, we have to be ever evolving to make sure that we're helping them to catapult from where they are right now to where they have the potential to be. Ultimately, every student has a unique need. Every student has a unique goal, and their life experiences have shaped who they are and what they aspire to be. Now, as educators and leaders in education, it's important for us to not only hear where they are, but also to help them to see where they can be and where they can go. And I think that that is ultimately our responsibility. Public education seems to be challenged from so many different fronts, with so many different things competing for the attention of our students and their families. But ultimately, we have the responsibility to make sure that we provide them with the adequate education that's going to help them to have the value added focus of being able to pursue a career, being able to pursue further education, whether they're choosing to go after their bachelor's, their master's, a doctorate, a PhD, whatever they choose to do. But we should be able to foster that. And that is ultimately what my focus is in this campaign. But even as a current incumbent, we have focused on making sure that we create the pathways of success through by any means necessary.
And then how do you plan to address the needs of the students in alternative education and the school to prison pipeline?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the last part of that?
How do you plan to address the needs of students in alternative education and the school to prison pipeline?
So that's a great question. So as a correctional peace officer and now a parole agent with the state of California, I know specifically from interviews with parolees, with interviews from incarcerated individuals, the different challenges that individuals have faced in our community from socioeconomic standpoints, or even from generational cycles. It's important to, one, help to address those needs. And it can't just be simply from the aspect of saying, hey, here's this person with this challenge academically. Here's this individual who has an opportunity to be able to move forward because we now can plug them into pathways and expose them to things that they've never seen before that gives them a chance to have a competitive edge in our community.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. Thank you for your patience in starting over. Your reception was much better the second time around, so thank you.
Not a problem.
Now we're going to be going to Vacaville Unified School District, and we are going to be speaking with Nancy Dunn. Can you unmute yourself, Nancy?
She's saying you guys are going to have to do it for her.
Okay. At least it's happier this time.
Can you hear me now?
Yay!
Yes.
Yay! I had something come up on my screen that said the host had muted me. So, but now we're all good. So
Okay.
let's go.
Okay. So let's let people ask some questions in the chat. But in the meantime, what is your plan to support mental health in schools?
Well, one of the first things that we need to do is to hire and retain more counselors and then actually let them be counselors. In our public schools, more often, our counselors actually become registrars for classes, or they fill other administrative functions. So what we need to do is find funding sources to have more counselors. The Counseling Association in California recommend a 250-to-1 ratio. And so that should be our goal, that we start working towards that ratio in our schools. But then beyond just putting all of the burden on those particular specialists, we need to realize that there are all different aspects to mental health, and we can all contribute small amounts. Making students feel safe in schools is a way to ease some of their mental health concerns. Making sure that we have extracurricular and co-curricular activities to make them feel like they are part of a group and wanting to attend school is another way to address their mental health. To really take a look at things like, what values are we getting out of over testing our kids? And perhaps take a look and see what is the impact of that on their mental health. So it's going to take a multi-pronged approach, but certainly it starts with getting the appropriate number of mental health professionals into our public schools.
Okay. If elected, will you continue with union leadership?
No, because union leadership is an elected position, and I will be finishing my term in June of next year of 23, and I am actually retiring at that point. So I will always be a supporter of both of unionism in general. I think it is the way forward. It is working families that drive our district. And unionism has been proved over and over again to be the best supporter of fair wages and good working conditions for our families. And after all, the students in our schools are coming from the households that we have to make as strong and stable as possible. So no, I won't be continuing in a union role, but I will always be a union supporter.
Okay. How do you plan to address the needs of students in alternative education and the school to prison pipeline?
So there's really two parts to that question. And so I'm going to address them separately. Students in alternative ed, we have to realize that they are alternative ed. We need to not make our continuation high schools and other alternative education mirrors of what students have already found they are not successful in. So first of all, we need to understand that it is alternative ed for a reason. As far as the school to prison pipeline, implementing a lot of practices that are sort of under the umbrella of restorative justice is a key component in breaking the school to prison pipeline. And of course, the other key component is finding ways to make students feel successful. And that means we need to broaden what the definition of success is.
Okay, and then for bullying, how would you address and protect the students involved?
One of the best ways to address bullying that I have experienced as a classroom teacher is to focus on empowering the other students. When students have a support system of their peers, of their adults who are important in their life, by modeling what is good behavior among the adults in the school. When students are feeling empowered, it is not going to prevent bullying, but it is going to be able to help them stand up to bullying, because not only do they have the skills that they need and the internal fortitude and self-worth that they need, but they are also supported by a network. So while I do believe that when bullying occurs, the bullies need to face restorative justice consequences and also real life consequences.
15 seconds.
It's also important to focus on the empowerment of the student who is being bullied, and making sure that when we come back as a community, it is done in a respectful way that heals all parties.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
We have finished with our school district participants, and we are going to be moving on to the city of Fairfield, and we're going to start with our candidate for mayor of Fairfield, Chauncey Banks.
Hello, thank you.
Hello. We'll give a couple seconds so we can get a couple questions.
All right.
So I will start with, well, quite frankly, the hardest question I can possibly ask.
Uh-oh.
What is your plan to help homeless folks in Fairfield?
What's my plan for the homeless?
Yeah.
All right. Let's open our eyes. Me just stepping in for the first time, I don't know what the city has been doing before that, because I know there's been plan, I know there's been money involved in all that. What I've been doing in the community, that I go down there myself and I do talk to them, I do feed them. I don't, try to get like I'm out there boasting and bragging of what I do. So I'm already out there. But as the mayor, I have to look at the budget and I have to see what they're doing. I know they have a Fairfield forward plan. And I've been reading up on that. And there's a lot of conclusions without any answers about the homeless. I know that when I ask the question, I hear different things like they want to be out there. And I don't think anybody that's homeless want to be out there. I don't think they want to be out there when it's cold. I don't think they want to be out there when it's hot. I hear, and what I do, I always ask the questions from the people, because I mean, it's not as how I look at Fairfield, it's not how I look at it from San Francisco, Oakland, Berkeley. I see a whole bunch of different things. I'm not saying it's as bad, but we don't want it to grow. I hear certain, again, from other people, rumors about, they drop people off. I have friends that's out there in the streets that's homeless, and I do communicate with them. And so as the city of Fairfield, I have to follow some of the Fairfield forward plan of what they're going to do before, because I haven't got to see. Me just being a regular person in the community is just a question that has to be asked for a table to sit with about the homeless. And so that's how I see the situation about the homeless. I know I heard about the small houses. A lot of people will just yell out things of what they feel that should happen. And saying that, I don't want to promise anybody anything, because they're going to say, oh, you said this, you said that. And I'm not going to be that person to do it until I see what Fairfield is already planning to do. They might be saying we need to put some homes over there, and they might have a road that's connected to where they're trying to put some homes. So I can't really answer on that right now, but I'm already out there in the community. Thank you for that question.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. What do you consider to be the most important issue? You are running citywide. So what is the most important issue for Fairfield as a whole?
Economic development. Economic development is big. Economic development is in a mall that I'm in. This is a $1 billion mall. And what I see here as a businessman, there's no foot traffic. I call it a flagship store where people will come in and take pictures. There's no one shopping. This is the centerpiece of Fairfield, California. And that is the centerpiece of Fairfield, California. We don't have no retail stores in here. And so some of the biggest issues is trying to get the retails back into Fairfield. As we see, Vallejo is, to me, and the way I look at it, is the lowest. We carry the seat. I believe Fairfield is lukewarm. Either they're cold, they don't want to be cold or hot. They just want to stay in the middle, and nothing is building up. Vacaville looks great. We have a lot of people moving from out of Fairfield into Vacaville. And so we need to bring some businesses and retail in Fairfield. We need to create jobs. We need to create jobs, and we need to educate some of the people that's at home to get them inside experiencing how to run a business, or how to go back to school and do certain things that we could rebuild Fairfield back up. But the main thing is economic development, what I see just here at the mall, because it is the centerpiece, and so is downtown. We need to rebuild downtown. We need to me personally, just from my eyes opening, is that the buildings need to be more what we see in other states, how they rebuilt their city up. When I look at our city, it's still really just old buildings. They rent it out, and they don't change anything, nothing but the inside, but not the outside. When I look at the mall from my perspective, and we got Planned Parenthood across the street from $1 billion mall. And I think we should move some of these care homes and some of these Planned Parenthood, I believe they need their privacy, and build up around the mall some high-end restaurants, some high-end apartments. I brought some of those out, and people said, why would
15
you do that?
seconds.
Because it'd be very expensive, but we could bring some of the Bay Area in so we could get some of the taxes from the people from the outside and rebuild our city up so we could take care of the homeless.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chauncey. We're
Yes.
now going to move on to Fairfield City Council, District 1, and we're going to hear from Kay Patrice Williams.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Evening.
So we'll give it a second for some questions to come in, but in the meantime, what is your plan for smart economic growth in Fairfield?
So smart economic growth is, and I call it smart economic growth because it's not just one pillar, it's not just one piece. So one would be, of course, supporting small businesses and making sure they grow and they're supported. And, you know, and that also means that we get less hooked into Amazon and really committed to supporting our local businesses. But what else is part of that? Well, it's also affordable housing. Affordable housing is important. Housing is important. We are below in our RENA numbers, but it's not just about putting up housing without the infrastructure. So yes, I believe in economic development, but can we do that without infrastructure? I live in Cordelia and we just put up beautiful houses. How did we do that and didn't increase the road size? We were already sitting when Rodriguez lets in and out. Now we are really sitting. So so smart economic development. So also jobs, the increase and the support of small businesses and industry in Fairfield, that brings jobs, living wage jobs. Like we shouldn't even be talking about minimum wage. No one can function at minimum wages. Living wage jobs. So to me, the smart economic development is seeing all of these pieces, all as one, moving parts.
What should we know about District 1?
What you should know about District 1 is that it's so different. It is so diverse. It includes Cordelia and Green Valley. There is this huge gap in income ranges. I live in Cordelia, and what's interesting is during the pandemic, when everything shut down, I would leave my house to go to a transitional home that I founded for my in my mother's name, Hazel's Tranquility Place. And when I would leave, we were all sheltered in place. But what I realized was all of the cars in my area, they were gone. These were construction workers. These were essential workers. And then my friends in Green Valley, you know, I would go see them or what have you. And like everybody's cars were in the street. And to me, it really highlighted how unique and how different. Also, when you look at the demographics for the income ranges, the income ranges is like in the 30s to in the 200,000. And I have a feeling the Green Valley folks are more of the 200,000 income range. So it's just very, very diverse.
And then can we continue building during the drought? Where will the water come from for all these new homes?
Oh my God, we have an infrastructure problem. We have an infrastructure problem. I have a feeling as someone on the outside looking in, I feel like there's a history, there's politics, there's something there. Like, I don't understand why we can't fix it. There's areas of Green Valley that is getting water from Vallejo. And this water is coming from Vallejo. It is very expensive. They're paying, some of them are paying as much on their mortgage as they are on their water. And this is infrastructure that is breaking down. So, I mean, so there's so many layers, and I want to get in there and understand what's happening and lift my voice to what's happening, and how we can really bring resolve, how we can bring in money to fix infrastructure issues. That's why I would like your endorsement, and that's why I would like to win the seat.
Okay. There was one other question. How will you engage our youth, our future leaders?
Well, anyone that knows me knows that I am crazy about our kids. Absolutely crazy about them. They are our future. And what's interesting about our young people, I have a 20-year-old, and I wouldn't know by this because he completely ignores me. But when you like engage our children, when you go to the high schools, when you go to the middle schools, when you go to scholarship programs, and you sit with our young people and you ask them different questions, you ask them what they need, you tell them, here is my number, I'm going to be there for you.
I'm sorry, but that was the time the alarm got away from me.
Oh, okay. Am I over? Or are you saying 15 seconds?
We're at 5 minutes.
Thank you, Kay Patrice. And now I'd like to welcome George Kennedy.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for inviting me tonight.
Glad to have you.
No questions?
Julia is muted.
Well, this is what I get for listening to you, Jeannie. Sorry, Dawn, can you start over? Okay, I'm sorry. I am the background noise, which is why I muted myself. Okay, what is the main concern for the Cordelia Green Valley area, and what is your plan to address it?
So the main area, Green Valley and Cordelia, have a little bit different wants and needs. So for the Green Valley area, it's really a lot about traffic. And there's some very high concentrated choke points during the day over there. Down here in Cordelia, it's a little bit about public safety, transparency, and accountability. But for the area on the whole, the big deal is protecting the urban limit line and protecting Suisun Valley from overpopulated growth where we don't have the infrastructure to take care of that. And when I say the infrastructure, it's the roadways. We have an improper freeway on-ramp and off-ramp system at Green Valley Road. And those are the things we're going to have to really collaborate with local, state, and federal officials, whether it's Solano Transportation Authority, who pretty much runs the transit monies in this county. And we need to get on them and really fight for those monies and get these choke points taken care of. And the biggest choke point there would be creating a proper on-ramp that if you're over at the college, you have to go clear down to the main intersection at Business Center Drive, where Costco and Safeway are, to get onto the freeway to go on 80 or 680. And that just doesn't work for the area. And with the protecting the Suisun Valley, it's about protecting the valley. Let the farmers farm. Keep what is urban, and keep what's rural. And we will solve a lot of problems that way.
How will you provide affordable housing without encroaching on the urban limit line?
In our area, affordable housing, has been looked at, and the urban limit line, there are infill developments that can be looked at, and we need to look inside the city limits before we look outside the city limits. We actually have the city's projected housing rates are above what the state mandates are. So it's a matter of creating whether we have to give city incentives to builders to lower their cost of getting in instead of spending $50,000, $70,000 per unit per building. Maybe we have to lower that to get them to do that. And maybe we have to come up with landlord partnership programs where we can get first responders, teachers, and stuff into houses at a lower price. But we need to do that as a city and find additional grants that are available to do those types of things.
Okay, so on the flip side to that, where is the water going to be coming from for new houses?
I'm glad you asked me that, because believe it or not, Fairfield City Water is the second best municipal water system in the sky. And the other thing is we get the majority of our water from the Delta. But we also have a fail-safe backup, which is Lake Berryessa. And that's why, even though Fairfield is not itself short on water at this point in time, we're still meeting this cutting back the water. Middle Green Valley, which was mentioned about Vallejo water, that's not in the city limits. That's all county land. But the city of Fairfield has the water for all the growth that is projected in the city for the next several decades.
And then for economic development, what kind of economic growth would you like to see besides retail development?
Job creation is through industrial manufacturing. You know, when you've got the second best water in the country, you need to tout that. That's why Budweiser's here. That's why Jelly Belly's here. That's why we have so many manufacturers that use water coming here. We've got Abco Laboratories out over by Jelly Belly that also does it. Those are the things we need to tout, that we bring manufacturing here, which pay prevailing wages and living wage paying jobs. And if you go after that, you have to work at it. And business just doesn't come to you. You have to go after that. And we've got to get on the ball and start promoting ours for what it does, which is great work.
And what is your plan for the homeless population, homeless folks in Fairfield?
And
well, I think the main thing is we have to get our homeless services division.
I think I asked you a question you cannot answer because we will not have time. So I do apologize for that.
All right, no worries. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, George.
Thanks, Jeannie.
I would like to now welcome Doug Carr, who is running for Fairfield City Council District 3.
Unmuted. Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. I thought I was late, but it turns out I wasn't.
Okay, so starting off with, well, the last question. What is your plan to help homeless folks in Fairfield?
I've been working with that population for almost 20 years as a counselor and working different treatment programs, including my current position as a court case drug case manager. When I was at probation, we had such a good model that we were doing there. My plan is, and one of the reasons why I decided to run, is to extend that plan. And that plan is a one-stop shop. The Center for Positive Change is at probation. I want to have a day reporting center, or maybe 2-3 of them, to where we can assess the needs of the person. See, a lot of times people say, oh, the homeless, and they throw all these people into one basket, and that's problem number one. We need to individualize these people, figure out which their needs are, whether it's through an assessment, mental health, substance use disorder treatment, housing, food, basic needs. All this stuff can be figured out with a couple of counselors and maybe a therapist. And we have to have a place for them to come and do that. Once they do that, we can have a little room set up, computer room, jobs, basic needs, clothes, opportunities. I have all the things already in line where they can come in and get clothes for job interviews. All these things need to happen, not just for probationers or parolees, which I've been working at. I want to extend that into the houseless population. And like with the other people saying, there are all these other things like the tiny house and stuff like that. But first of all, we have to figure out what the basic needs of these individuals are and deal with them at that level.
You said you would try to make the necessary changes to alter feelings of Fairfield as unsafe. What are those changes?
Well, for one, it would be the homeless population. When a scary looking guy is laying on the porch over at Target, people are going to stop going there, which they are. I talk to my neighbors here in my district and they go to Vacaville to shop just because of that. So that's number one, that's part of it. The other part of it is the lighting. If we had more people, rather than pulling into a parking lot and running into a store over at the mall, if we had a venue, we had a more inviting atmosphere for these people to come into, like Vacaville, the storefronts, all these type of things we can definitely do, but also increasing some of the security and police forces. I think that working with landowners and business owners, and maybe somehow coming up with a better security system to where these people do have a place to go. A lot of times people say that they don't got any place else to go. Well, we need to make it to where they do have another place to go. And that would be safer for everybody.
Okay. How will you provide for affordable housing without encroaching on the urban limit line?
That's an easy one. We already have so many derelict spaces right here in city limits that are sitting eyesores that are burnt and everything else. And again, I know that the city just purchased the Bank of America downtown. Basically, we can do more of that. We can purchase existing places, derelict buildings. They can be either removed, torn down, or remodeled. Also, there's talk of some of the motels on North Texas Street, doing something with those, conversions, buyouts, these kind of things.
So what should we know about your district that makes it unique, and what problems or issues would you want to solve there?
Well, one thing that's unique about my district is I have the city center in my district. I have the mall area. And there's a whole bunch of wasted space over there. And talking to my constituents, my neighbors, and the people in my district, they're all for a type of venue, a place to where, like Fabulous Food Truck Fridays, and there's a nice place they can walk, like
5 seconds.
and basically bring the area up. The other thing is the safety corridor down Holiday Lane next to the freeway. I get a lot of complaints about that. They need to put up a 6 or 8 foot wall along there before somebody gets killed coming off the freeway onto that Holiday Lane.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Doug, for being with us. We're now going to move on to Fairfield City Council District 5, Doris Panduro. Welcome, Doris.
Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Doris.
Good evening.
Oh. Okay. We'll let some questions come in, but in the meantime, this is something that we have spoke about, so I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about your vision for parks in your district.
Absolutely. So it is something we've talked about, and I have been holding events. I have 2 parks in my district. I have both Tabor Park and Dover Park. I have now held both events at both of the parks, and it has really been a great way to see the ways that we could improve the area to better serve the residents that live not only nearby, but also the entire neighborhood. I know with Dover Park, I noticed there was a more need for parking. I think both parks actually need more parking space, make it more, easier access for families and children. Bathrooms are also missing at both parks. And it is something that I noticed, just being there myself, and then having events, you have to bring in, a porta potty, which it does cause barriers to hosting events there. So just those are some of the things that I definitely have added to my list of things to work on in the coming, hopefully if I get elected for more years, to continue to work on, because parks are so important to our neighborhoods, and we have 2 fabulous parks. And I think it's just about being able to enhance them a little bit more so that they are more inviting, and they are, maintained safe, so that all families can feel like they can, enjoy the beautiful pond and the ducks that we have out there.
Awesome. And what do you consider the underserved community for your district, and how will you better help them and reach them?
Sure. So District 5, for those of you who may not know, I consider it Central Fairfield. So it's, East Tabor, Dover. I have Grande Circle. the bird streets. And so the underserved population for me in those areas, I have a large population of undocumented residents. And I learned this back in 2020 when I ran the first time. And it was really frustrating for me to see that they felt that like they weren't connected to the city. And so I have tried really hard this past year to find more equitable ways to connect not only them, but everybody else in my district to City Hall and to city resources. So I have done presentations. I've asked for presentations to be done in Spanish now twice, which I'm really excited about. Anything I put out is in English and Spanish. And I just really try to find ways to be inclusive so that it's, and when I sit at the dais, I'm listening at the way that policy is coming in to ensure that that policy. I'm sorry, can I just say something really quick? Dwayne, your messaging is directly to me, just letting you know. So so I'm just doing my best to make sure that all resources are equitable to our underserved and undocumented, but also the working class families in my district. I have a lot of working class families who I feel that are literally just trying to survive day by day. And so it's finding ways to make sure that they feel included in what's going on with the city and they feel that they are being heard and they have a voice in what's going on. Thank you.
Awesome. And how will you be engaging the youth and our future leaders?
That is a great question. So this past week, I had the opportunity to attend the League of California Cities conference, which is an annual conference put on for council members and mayors. And one of the workshops that I actually attended was on how to engage youth in our city. And there was a council member from Sacramento, and he gave some really great ideas to how to incorporate youth. And I'm really excited to take back some of those ideas and implement them. One of the ideas that he talked about was having a student role in our city commissions and on the council. So even having a student being able to be a part of the council in an advisory position, because students and youth, they matter. What they say shouldn't be like, oh, wow, that you're so smart. It should be like, wow, you know what? That's a really great idea. Thank you for that perspective. Because what they say, they are coming from a different point of view, and it's one that we should all be paying attention to.
Awesome. And then how will you provide affordable housing without encroaching on the urban limit line?
I think that, a lot of ideas have already been mentioned about infill and making sure that we are in this city. And I think right now,
15 seconds.
It's really exciting. So in District 5, we actually have 2 affordable housing complexes coming in, one off of North Texas, and then the other one is off of Sunset. So we already have more, we're staying within the city. And I think that is the goal, to continue to find ways to be innovative and creative for affordable housing to stay within our city limits. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doris.
Thank you.
We're now going to move on to Suisun City. And we're going to be hearing from the candidate for mayor of Suisun, Alma Hernandez.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to be here and excited to be able to engage with all of you and answer some questions.
So we'll let everybody ask some questions, but in the meantime, from your questionnaire, what will you be doing differently to engage the community if you're elected mayor?
You know what, community engagement has been an area that I believe Suisun City really needs to focus on, and I have just started to initiate a couple of ideas that we're starting to move forward with. One of them is we'll be updating our website to be able to have a clear access and make information more accessible to members of our community. One of the things I advocated for was that the information also be available in other languages. Specifically, our official languages in Suisun City are English, Spanish, and Tagalog. So I definitely want to have other resources available in the other languages as well. The other piece is I'm engaging in conversations in a project transparency tool that allows for members of the community to engage with and understand the projects that are happening in the city and what stage in the project those are. That way they have accurate information about what we're working on, where the funding is coming from, what stage of the project is in, as well as our financial reporting. So there's a tool that we'll be rolling out that our accounting team is currently working on so that members of our community can also follow along with our financials. In addition to that, I just learned, I was at the same conference I was earlier mentioned in regards to League of California Cities. I attended a session that had to do with community engagement planning models. And I loved it because one of the things that I talked about is being able to engage community at the location a project is taking place. For example, if we're developing a project and there's a specific site, engaging members at that site that they can provide direct feedback to us and let us know what they envision to see there. Does this make sense? What do the roads look like? What is the land, capacity? And so we can have direct engagement that way. In addition to that, additional social media engagement, opportunities for them to connect with us regarding different roundtables that we can implement. One of them is a roundtable for diversity, so that we can have a diverse perspective of the different projects that are happening in the community and have diverse voices included.
How are you going to help Suisun City address sea level rise?
Well, I'm currently working with Sustainable Solano and BCDC, which is a Bay Area organization that works on climate resiliency, and we just applied for additional funding to work through the climate resiliency models for sea level rise. One of them being a Kellogg Street project, which is a street that's by the harbor area. We just received over $8 million in federal funding and state funding for that specific project to start working on water mitigation and flood levels, and starting to work with the different agencies about different levees that we can create. Something called living levees is one, or lateral levees is one, that we can work on using different engineering to start working on the sea level rise and the areas that would be impacted, specifically downtown Suisun and some of our housing and a school that we have in the area. Educating our community. So we're currently hosting flood walks in Suisun City, and I've worked to have that translated in Spanish, and we're working to have that translated into Tagalog as well, to engage members of the community and start the education process. We just had a presentation at our city council about some findings that we worked with the Nature Conservancy about what the community wants to see happen regarding sea level rise and climate resiliency. And we're asking everybody to join us in October for a Climate Environment Festival to not only learn more about what this means, some of the plans that we're working on, some of the funding we're working on, but also what their ideas and input may be as well.
Thank you. How do you reconcile protecting Travis Air Force Base with the proposal for a logistics center near Highway 12 in Walters Road?
This is a really great question. And one of the things that I've learned is that not all stakeholders have come to the table. So I've already engaged with working with Travis Air Force Base directly, and there's a new colonel there that we'll be meeting with very soon. I have a scheduled meeting with the liaison, the government affairs individual that works with Travis Air Force Base in Suisun City, in addition with Solano Transportation Authority, LAFCO, which also looks at the area that is being addressed to see about the different restrictions that might be. And I've met with
15 seconds.
Supervisors. And so we're hosting through STA, we're having a meeting being hosted to have all stakeholders start to work together and talk through implications, solutions, what does appropriate mindful building and design and development actually look like for that area? Because Travis Air Force Base is a priority to our region, and it needs to remain at the top of all of us, all of our priorities, ensuring its feasibility in the long term. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Elma. We're now going to move on to Suisun City Council, and we're first going to hear from Jenna Lee Dawson. Jenna Lee?
Hi.
Hi, Jenna Lee. Okay. So, okay. While we wait for questions, what is your plan to help homeless folks in Suisun?
So I will say, over the past, 10 years, there has been an influx of homelessness. It hasn't been the same since growing up as a young child here. I have been actively involved as a social worker, boots on the ground, working with individuals' mental health, substance abuse, active on many advisory boards, including I'm the vice chair for CAP Solano. So I'm seeing all of the federal and state funding that is coming in, the cash funding, helping with the funding allocations for all of it. And there's a lot more money coming down the pipeline as California is on this trajectory to really address homelessness. Ending encampments is a big thing for me for the safety of our community, the wildfires, marshlands, everything that is continuously occurring because of these homeless encampments. But I also know, working boots on the ground, we really have to meet them where they're at. And Suisun City is limited on our finances. We really have to draw down federal funds, state funds, and we need to work in a collaborative effort across Solano County to make sure that our Suisun residents and our homeless and our houseless population have the resources and the tools that they need. There's an instrumental amount of resources, and I think a lot of the time it's a lack of ability that people have to be able to access those resources, or they're not knowledgeable. So it's really spreading the awareness and really just having more support with our public safety, having maybe social workers working with our officers. So really just leveraging as many resources as we can to really address the population of our homelessness, and also protecting our citizens and our parks and our, all of our areas, because as long as they're out homeless and houseless out on the streets and they don't have the resources, our whole community is at risk.
Okay, and then waiting for a couple more for any more questions, but
you can moderate.
I'm working on it. I'm thinking of something. Okay, so Suisun is a commute city. What is your plan to work with STA and other agencies in order to have more available public transportation?
Thank you. So as a commute city, I myself commute in and out. I have a husband that commutes in and out. Generationally. We are really a city based on residential, and our transportation here, I like to see that Suisun City has made significant strides, doing a lot of working with STA, doing community outreach, community needs assessments, identifying the gaps in transportation. And I think that's critical. We have to hear from the people who are actually using our transportation. I would love to see more use of our Amtrak, our public transportation, and really just engaging with our community, meeting them where they need to be met, and really focusing on our infrastructure. Our infrastructure is huge. Like I said, because Suisun City has such a small tax revenue that's coming in and we have a limited financial budget, we really need to be fiscally responsible with the money that we're spending, and making sure that when we are investing in our infrastructure for our public transportation, or encouraging people to walk to school and bike, and we have the reserve funding to really dedicate and make sure that our streets and our roads are repaired, and that we have long-term solutions to make sure that we can carry that through.
Okay, and how will you provide affordable housing without encroaching on the urban limit line?
So I've been in affordable housing, specifically Section 8 housing, for the last 13 years. Section 8 project-based. I am very familiar with how they're run and how they're operated. Suisun City, I'm very proud to say that we do have a lot of affordable housing options. And we have another housing being developed here off of Highway 12. We've got some off of Railroad. We have a few downtown. And I am a very big proponent of making sure that we are
15 seconds.
That we're securing our affordable housing long-term by ensuring that people are not there generationally, that we're investing in workforce development, social services, supportive resources to give them the tools that they need to elevate out of affordable housing. I was in Section 8 housing at one time, and with the workforce development, the tools and the resources, I was able to become a homeowner. And I think that's really, really important. So if we invest in educating resources and education, we can give them the tools and we can sustain the affordable housing that we have to ensure that people who need it can transition out of it.
Thank you very much, Jenna Lee.
Thank you.
We're now going to hear from Princess Washington.
Hi, everyone. I apologize. My camera's not on. I work for Kaiser Permanente, so I do have to protect patient health information. So I do apologize for that.
No worries. They can just see my shining face. Okay. What do you see as the future for Sassoon with regard to public safety?
You know, I think we have a great track record for public safety. Our fire department is excellent. Our police department is excellent. Our public works, for a 12-man crew, they do a lot. I think the only obstacle in our way as far as public safety is our small budget. You know, we do have the lowest pay in the county. My hope is that through future economic development that we can, you know, pay them what they're worth and hire more and retain more of our officers, our policemen, our public works department, because they are the ones that keep our city going on a daily basis. Our city, I think, is very safe, very great place to grow up. I can attest to that. So for me, I think a lot of that is just keeping it that way, but allowing for the growth that's going to come with our new developments and our new increase in population.
Okay. How will you provide for affordable housing without encroaching on the urban limit line?
Well, you know, we actually are. We just had a joint meeting with Planning Commission and City Council. I believe the trajectory is we have a surplus of 600 and something units, and that's across all demographics of income. As far as lower income housing, we're actually doing really well. I'm really excited for this new development that's happening on Highway 12, and I believe it's Marina Boulevard. That is coming in with some lower income units available. There's also a project potentially for lower income housing. So again, our trajectory is really good for housing and meeting that limit. You know, we are landlocked, and for us to be as landlocked as we are, I think that our staff is doing a great job in accommodating that.
Okay, and with regards to water, how do you see the water supply for the city?
Well, unfortunately, we are in a drought. We have been for quite some time. I would like to see more conservation efforts. I would like to see greater awareness of how we can do our part to really cut down water use unnecessarily. I would like to see more durable plantage, a lot of preventative measures in place. For example, you know, fires are crazy right now. I know that we use undrinkable water. I think that's really smart. So really just cutting down where we can and making great strides to inform our community on ways that we can cut down on water usage. I know in the future, you know, we are looking to having more durable turfing, and our new parks are not going to have grass and things of that nature. So we can really cut down on maintenance use. And then the rest, I think, falls on the residents, you know, doing our part to conserve what we have.
Excellent. And what made you decide to run for city council?
Well, to be quite honest, I don't want to sound negative, but I felt like my hand was forced. You know, our lovely mayor left. She's now state assembly. Miss Wanda Williams is going to city supervisor. You know, I see Miss Alma doing wonderful things, and I just wish to, you know, really use this time to take the knowledge that I've gained for the city that I love and make myself available for that. I think that we have a great path ahead of us, but with 2 seats being up and a potential appointment, that is, you know, room for a majority vote. I didn't know who else was going to run. And quite frankly, I was terrified. I'm seeing the great strides that we're making, and I just want to be a valuable asset. I feel so fortunate to have the position that I have, being a commissioner with the Recreational Parks, Marina and Arts Commission. You know, I really got a taste for what it takes to, you know, put things together and put ideas out, and how much staff time and effort it takes and footwork. But you see these things come to life, and it is the most beautiful thing. And seeing our community come together and seeing our city grow. I would hate for the work that was done before me to go to waste. And so for me, I just felt compelled to do my part to give back to the city that has done so much for me. I wouldn't be who I was without this city. And I want that for future generations. I have a daughter who's 4, who's starting school. And, you know, I want her to grow up the way that I grew up. I think Sassoon City is a great example
15
of
seconds.
a diverse American city. And I think that that is a great resource. I think that we have what it takes to be a potential role model for everyone else around us.
Thank you, Princess.
Thank you.
Well, we are heading down the home stretch. We have just a few more that we need to hear from Vacaville, and then we're going to be taking a break. So let's just plow right straight through and hear from our candidate for Vacaville Mayor, Jason Roberts.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Jason.
Hey, Jason.
Okay. What is the greatest issue facing Vacaville currently, and what is your plan to address it?
Oh man, that's kind of a loaded question. There's lots of things
Yeah.
going on. Right now, one of the big things is, yeah, we're having a big shakeup in the demographics of Vacaville, and not much I can do to change that directly, but what I can do is offer better representation for the city. I'm sitting at the median age of the person in Vacaville, middle of my working career, and looking to make a big difference there. But with that big change in demographics, there's been a big shift in the type of housing that's needed. Vacaville's long time has had low income and very high income housing, and we're kind of missing that missing middle piece. And recently with the current council we've been trying to work with the developers to address that. And we're going to keep doing that. I'm going to keep advocating to make housing affordable at every level income, not just low income. But yeah, any place within somebody's career, if they want to choose to move up in housing as they get better jobs. And yeah, I think it'll be open up a lot of possibilities out here. We have a lot of things coming in, and we need to make sure it's taken care of appropriately. Another big issue that we have, Fairfield had as well, was with the LNU fire with emergency preparedness. It's pretty obvious that there was not a well thought out plan for evacuating a lot of members of the city. They had plans for small numbers, which we've dealt with in the past, but not a mass evacuation. And with my background in emergency management, I plan to address that directly, working with Cal OES and FEMA, as well as the city public safety.
So Vacaville is in the middle of a police audit. What will you do to ensure that its findings are addressed?
Well, I mean, once we get the findings, we haven't received them yet. We actually have our second community forum, I believe, tomorrow night. Wednesday night, sorry. And when we have the findings, I mean, the best way to address it is just directly as they show up, have open, honest conversations with the police department, city staff, and the public about what those findings were and how we can look at them and what's the best method to address those issues.
What would you like to do to help everyone feel included and welcome in Vacaville?
Big thing is with Vacaville getting better at, it still needs a lot of work, is just clear, open communication with the public. We have to sit down and post what we're doing, make the information about the city more accessible, because I brought it up a few times, just navigating any government website is very difficult to find the exact information that you need. And for me personally, is just being out in the public. See me at a coffee shop, come talk to me, just be present so people know who their city council members and mayors are, so they feel more engaged and that government's not some special magical entity, that we're real people that can sit down and talk to you that has probably similar issues that you have.
What are your plans for supporting Parks and Rec through Measure M funds and ensuring that we look equitably across town to improve access and amenities in our parks across?
Well, parks are a big deal to me. I spend a lot of time in parks, and this past year we put a little over 9 million, probably almost 10 million into our local parks from Measure M funds. And I'll continue to do that. This go around, we chose one park in each district. And once that's done, we'll probably reassess and look at other neighborhood parks, or even community parks, to see how we can improve those. We realized there's a big shortage during COVID when a lot more people were utilizing them, because that was really the only outdoor space people had available. And yeah, I'm all for funding parks and making sure we have also the staff and public works to maintain those parks.
I am going to ask this for myself because, quite frankly, I find it a pretty big lack, especially in Vacaville. is what are you thinking about for plans for kids under 5? Because I was looking at the Parks and Rec brochure. You guys don't have.
Yeah, there's a lot of need there, and that's especially
15
difficult. Yeah, best we can do is work with city staff and other organizations such as Boys and Girls Club. I know that's a young age for Boys and Girls Club, but see if there's other nonprofits out there, or even some type of after-school programs or preschools that this city can help out with. I know that a lot of that falls on like preschools, a school district, but yeah, I mean, work with other organizations that can help support that specific age group.
Okay, well, I'm going to give you a suggestion is using the city gym for a wiggle room in the mornings is delightful. So but we're out of time.
I'll note that for you.
Thank you, Jason.
Yeah.
We're now going to be hearing from Greg Ritchie, who is running for Vacaville City Council in District 2.
Thank you so much.
Okay, you had a great comment in your opening, and I wanted to give you a second to finish that, and because I know I cut you off. So I know it was all of like 2 hours ago. So this is mean.
Yeah. If you want to refresh my memory, I can continue wherever you want.
You were talking about your experience as a Black man in Vacaville with regards to what made you run for office.
Okay, oh yeah. So I'll try to pick up, I think, exactly where I kind of got up. Being through public education, starting at my elementary school, junior high to high school, being a minority in Vacaville in the 80s was far different than being a minority in Vacaville in 2020 plus. My mom and dad, they were literally, everyone knew who they were because they were probably one of the only Black couple you see for a long time. And so my experience growing up, it was different. I had to be very mentally strong, plus physically strong. And there's ways in which that, as being, I think 5 kids at whole Orchard School were African American. One's my sister, one's my brother. And so you have to have a certain sense of kind of knowing who you are and being very strong and very, proud of and resilient. And I think carrying that through and carrying that sense of just belonging and knowing who you are, being proud is something that's very important for me. I grew up in a very strong household, but as I see stuff progress on, I want to make sure it really kind of touched back to me, where just through the last election cycles, you can kind of get the idea. I don't go too deep in it, but I started seeing America get pulled apart in these little tribes, and everyone's get pulled in their own little groups, and it just started really infuriating me to the way in which we were just getting pulled apart and the others, and everyone's demonizing each other. And I think it's something I really want to step up and say, listen, we need to take this opportunity to not allow like this negative connotations, negative national narrative that we're all different, and the labeling of each other, the labeling of a Black man's this, a cop is that, these people are good or bad. I just want to step in and make sure that that this did take hold in the community that I was raised in, and we need to give everyone an opportunity and a chance. So to me, it's really passionate, like being a minority in a city that has a very small Black population, and having grown and prosper, and realizing that, I just want to give people that look like me, that diverse and inclusion. To me, it's not just race anymore. It's gender, sexual preference, and politics is one thing, but it's really everyone needs to be in Vacaville to have the sense of belonging. I've kind of blazed my path with my family and felt belonging by not allowing the negative ideology of other people to hold me down. But I think we're at a time now when this is so toxic. I just want to step up. I want to make sure that I didn't allow certain things to take root, and show people that you can look different and still be able to win and represent people in the city. So it is important for me to step up, to become a role model, and allow people to look like me, to realize that, regardless of what you see on the news, someone that looks like me can survive and thrive in the city. So I think that might go to the path you're talking about.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. So what are your plans for supporting Parks and Rec through Measure M funds and ensuring that we look equitably across town to improve access and amenities in our parks?
So I think first and foremost about measuring funds, I think, we need to kind of re-educate the city of Vacaville on the use and intent and what the purpose of Measure M funds are for. I think it's starting to get kind of like hijacked a little bit, like, oh, the real intent was for this, the real intent is for that. There's kind of many different kind of cyclones or columns the Measure M funds were made for. When it comes to parks, I think it's essential. I have a few parks in my district, but in general, kind of the whole world was reawoken to the ability to have parks and rec open spaces. And we have this revised sense of kind of community of going outside and really exploring the parks. Not everyone has the best parks in their
15
district.
seconds.
Oh, wow. I would like to allocate funds to make sure parks are thriving in a place where people want to be and not a last resort. Sorry.
Thank you, Greg. Now I'd like to welcome Dr. Sarah Chapman.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Welcome.
So we'll give a second for people to put some questions in the chat, but for me, what is your plan to help homeless folks in Vacaville?
Okay, I've had a thought that I've been passing around, putting out, and I reflected back on when we did have redevelopment funds, and those funds were used to rehab the blighted areas, and those funds are no longer available to cities. However, and I know the city is not in the business of being renters, landlords, and all of that. However, I had the thought of the city possibly working with nonprofit, purchasing maybe an apartment complex that needs rehabbing, where the landlord is not putting funds back into that particular piece of property, and setting up a criteria to house our homeless. And we have to remember that our homeless consist of, there are those who choose to be on the street. There are those who fell upon hard times and lost their jobs and found themselves on the street. We have mental illness. We actually have veterans that are not aware of all the resources that are available to them. So I think we are gonna have to classify, I hate to say it, don't like putting people in a pigeonhole. However, we're gonna have to find out who our homeless are and what their needs are. And right now I'm aware that the city is working with a nonprofit organization. There is a resource program where they're working collaboratively to provide resources at the present time. But I think we need to go a little further and go outside the box. And I really think it would work. I believe that if we could invest in a piece of property along with a nonprofit organization, that we could make a dent in some of the homeless here in Vacaville.
What is the area of greatest need in District 4?
Oh, wow. We need a moratorium to stop. I shouldn't have started there. The greatest need is a moratorium to stop liquor stores, cannabis smoke shops, service stations. We need grocery stores. We need restaurants, full-scale restaurants to provide nourishing food for the residents in the area. We have all the fast foods in the world. We have the strip malls, but and we also have many apartment complexes. Those individuals are very close to the quick stops in the 7-Eleven. So where do they go to purchase their basic needs of milk, bread, the things that their children or the family may need? They're going to go to that quick stop or 7-Eleven, where that item is going to cost them much more than if they had access to a grocery store. We need to have produce, nourishable products for these individuals. But at the same time, like I said, we have quite a few apartment complexes. They don't all have the transportation to get to the one grocery store on Peabody and Elmo, or down to Nut Tree and Elmo. The Walmart, the neighborhood stores that have come into the area, I'm told this, I didn't experience it myself, but I'm told that if you were to go into that neighborhood store, the items on the shelves cost more than they do at the full scale Walmart store. I don't know what you call the big sell everything store. And that shouldn't be. They're taking advantage of the ones who are less fortunate and unable to acquire the items they need at a reasonable price. So a priority in my area is health, the environment, the drought. I'm going to talk about mention climate change and how it has impacted us. We knew coming out of the pandemic that we were going to have a new norm. And who would have thought that the new norm would include fires, a drought, and we have fisheries. Have you been keeping up with the number of fish that are coming to the surface dead? We having algae, the delta, there's the water issue. It's enormous. So in District 4, as a council person, it's not only about in the immediate area,
15 seconds.
Oh no, in the immediate area, it's very important to listen. I want to be able to listen to the people. I've been walking around getting locations to place my signs, and I have actually been spending 30 to 40 minutes per stop because people want to talk once they hear the reason I'm on their grounds. So I'm sorry, I ran out of time, but I'm very passionate about doing for others. It is about being a council person is about the people.
Thank you, Dr. Chapman.
Thank you.
Let's now hear from Vacaville City Council District 6 candidate, Jeanette Wiley.
Hello, and we're 2 hours in, so we've got 2 more hours to go as far as the city council meeting goes. So I appreciate the time that you all are putting into this and the organization of it to allow everyone to hear the candidates. So I'm up for questions.
And you get to be our final contestant.
Oh, just like on the ballot. I'm last on the ballot.
It's the W.
That's it. That's it.
Okay, so how will you provide affordable housing without encroaching on the urban limit line?
Well, I think affordable housing is sorely needed in Vacaville. We have a lot of expensive single family houses. We have some affordable housing going in, and we have some new apartments, but it is just really a need. And as Jason mentioned before, we are looking for that missing middle. One thing that I would like to see is a program where older Vacaville residents who are in a big house could have a program where you share your housing with, a young person, a single person, a teacher, someone who's looking to not just have the apartment experience, because some of those apartments are going for $3,000 a month. There are programs like that in some cities. San Diego has a very successful program. I talked about it in 2020, and the housing department has so many things going on. It really needs someone to champion it, and you have to really vet the program. But that's one thing that I would see is the advantage would be older adults could stay in their home because there really aren't smaller homes that they can move into that are affordable, and it would provide housing for some of those people that the missing middle kind of people, or teachers and things like that.
And before Mary can ask it, what are your plans for supporting Parks and Rec through Measure M funds and ensuring that we look equitably across town to improve access and amenities to our parks?
Well, I am happy that with our Measure M funds, we are using some money for a park in each district. And that was to be equitable so that each district could see something. It's not an equitable look at parks across town. I'm very lucky because we had art in the park in a beautiful Magnolia Park in District 6, which has the water feature and the bathrooms and the covered picnic tables, which we would love to have at every park. Two other things that we really need to look at is how are our developer fees supporting parks or not being sufficient to support parks? So we need to look at that. And then the fees that people pay in their neighborhoods, the lighting and landscape areas and park fees. Some districts pay higher park fees, some don't pay hardly any park fees. So we really need to look at how those fees are assessed so that we can have parks in each district. Since we're not at that point now, we do need to pay more attention to parks that need more support, which is why Trower Park is having additional money poured into that to provide the services. It was crazy when sixth grade students were coming to the city council meeting and saying, we want more benches. We need benches to sit down in our park and shade tree and things like that.
Okay. And then just on it.
I will say I have been paying attention the whole time, but if you see me looking down, I've been writing on all my flyers. I appreciate your support. So I've gotten to 140 done while we're sitting here. So I have been paying attention, but that's what I was doing.
You're fine. I was trying to find a question that I literally just found and lost.
Oh, no.
Okay, what will you do to ensure that the findings of the police department audit are addressed?
Well, one thing that I have been kind of concerned with is the money that the city spends on consultants and audit. We are spending a lot of money to look at the programs. And I do think we need to see, are the programs being successful or what needs we have? So I certainly intend to follow up on the audit. We spent a lot of money to have this audit. So I don't want it just to be, well, we had it, check it off. There was a public meeting, check it off. I really want to follow up on it. I feel like our new police chief is doing a good job and will also want to
15
work with the
seconds.
department to make changes. So that's what I would like to do. And just the same thing with equity, diversity, inclusion. We've had a person come in. I was talking to the city manager. Let's have follow through. What's happening? Just having the meeting isn't enough. I want to see changes due to consultants, audits, or contractors coming in to tell us what we need to do for equity, diversity, and inclusion.
Thank you, Jeanette. Thank you so much. And we have finished with all of our candidates. And I want to thank all of the candidates for patiently answering all of our questions. It is now 8:43. We're going to take about a 5-minute break. So we're going to be back, let's say at about 8:50. And then we're going to start immediately with our voting for our endorsements. So we will be back in 5 minutes.
Jeannie, just to note, if you are not voting, we will not be announcing the results tonight. So if you would like to go home, well, I suppose you are home. If you would like to leave the meeting, you are welcome. We will not be announcing any results tonight.
The results will be
on the way home.
Yeah, the results will be announced probably closer to the end of the week because we will have to verify all the votes. So take your 5 minutes and we will be back and do our voting. Thank you.
Dawn, are you there? Jeannie, are you gonna need me to download the chat? You're muted.
If you can, that would be wonderful because there are lots and lots of links that people responded really quickly to Nolan's suggestion at the beginning of the meeting that they put their information about their websites or Facebook pages into the chat. So
Yeah, I'm just wondering because I don't want to close out of the chat accidentally and lose it.
You know, you can save the chat so you don't have to write everything.
Yeah, I know, I do. I save it every meeting.
yeah, and then I go ahead and I actually send it out to the membership afterwards so that everybody can get all the information that was on the chat. So you don't have to write anything down right now.
Mm-hmm.
But for those of us on cell phones, you can't save it. So I would appreciate it.
Yeah, it will come out to you in an email, Marion.
I figured that, but since it's being talked about.
I just didn't know because we had a lot of the links already, but don't worry, I will save it all.
Thank you.
Okay, it is now 8:50. And thank you guys for coming back. We are definitely heading down the home stretch. So thank you for everybody's patience. At this time, I'm going to be asking Vice President Routson Thomas to start administering the polls. So we will be doing the polling in the exact order that we did all of the questioning. So, and this is only for current members who are eligible to vote.
Which do we have the latest eligibility? Did Dawn send that already?
Are the candidates still here or do they leave?
I think most of the candidates have left.
Yeah, I was more just talking about do we want to kick anybody out who is not an eligible member?
Do
I get to?
I sent the list to Jeannie earlier last week, so.
And Julia, I will share that with you afterwards and if that will be helpful for finding voting eligibility.
Well, more so for if you want people in the meeting, but yes, I will need that.
Okay.
Just remind people, if you have newly joined the club in the last 90 days, you are not eligible to vote. So if you are a new member with less than 90 days in the club, you're not eligible to vote.
And I think we had a couple of them here tonight that I saw.
And even if you were running for office, if you were a member that is up to date on dues and all that, they will that you do get to vote.
Okay.
So yes. Okay, so in the order that people went. Okay. We're going to start with Dixon Unified.
choose three and there's only three?
Yeah. So we're at 30 seconds.
Where is the no preference option?
There's no.
Sorry, Don.
You can private message me if you would like a no preference option. So I'm going to end the poll. Will not be sharing results. Oh, I am so sorry. If you have two people in your Zoom that are eligible, just saw your comment from Georgia Marlene. Please private message me the vote of the other person in your Zoom. So for Georgia Marlene, George, you are the person on your Zoom. So go ahead and message me Marlene's vote.
And just to clarify, everyone, you can choose no preference for any of the races in lieu of choosing one of the or more of the candidates.
I
So,
think this is the only one that did not have no preference.
okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay, we're gonna go to the next one, which is Travis. Wait, did we do? No, we did Fairfield, sorry.
You just did Dixon.
Yeah, I know, I'm saying in order of questions. So Fairfield was next for questions, so they will be the next poll. This is one option. If you are messaging votes to the account with my video, it's going to my phone, not my computer. So it's a little bit hard, but I will still get those. It'll just be a little bit harder. So if you can do it to the one that just has the black screen. Okay. And
So even though there was a no preference thing on this one, do we still have to email you or do we still have
no,
to?
no,
Okay, all right.
Just for the previous one.
Okay.
Rita, you had a question?
Yeah, not to belabor the point, but last time too, there was actually 2 seats up for election at the Travis Unified School District. So they're 2 separate seats altogether. It's not one seat. And so I don't know how you want to handle that. I mean, you can endorse either one of us or neither of us, but both of us could actually end up winning, and it'd be great to have a couple of Democrats on the board, because there's 3 other people running that I would not particularly care to have on the board.
So
anyways, I wanted to bring that up to your attention. That's all.
We do actually have it showing as 2 spots.
Thank you very much.
So does that mean we get 2 votes?
You get 2 votes.
Okay, all right, make sure you say that so some of us will understand. You know, we have some takes us a minute to catch on to things.
I think I actually wrote that one on the top of the poll too.
Okay.
I
You
got
got it.
that one right.
There are 2 seats that are open. You can vote for 2 candidates.
Oh.
And I wasn't trying to push myself, but I just wanted to let everybody know.
Thank you.
You can push yourself.
You got photo op exposure.
That looks nice, Bob.
We got a couple more. Okay. Looks like most everybody has voted. So I'm gonna end the poll. Okay, next. We have Vacaville Unified, which is going out. Okay, looks like we might be missing one person. You want to vote in this one? Give you one more second. And ending poll. Oh, you got in right under the timeline. Okay. And oh, the next one we will be doing is for Fairfield Mayor. A few more people.
So Jeannie, can you hear me?
Yes.
So this is awkward, but Chauncey seems like a fine fellow, but he did not respond to the Sierra Club or Orderly Growth Questionnaire. And we have invited him to be a participant in a debate at Paradise Valley Estates. He has not responded, just zero radio silent. It's sad.
I'm sorry, and that is a disappointment, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very, very much of a disappointment.
Jeannie, when you're sending, sorry, Jeannie, when you're sending me your votes, can you let me know which one the vote is for?
Oh, sorry. Sorry, everybody. I have to send my vote through the chat. So it's like I don't get to vote. So that's why she's when I'm typing, it's like I'm trying to coordinate it right when everybody else is voting, but I'm a little slow.
No, it's not that. It's just that I have to put the timestamp with which vote it is.
Okay.
And I'm never going to be able to do that. So, yes. So you're gonna have to tell me which person which race you're voting on, so I know.
Okay.
But anyway, it's fine. I'm pretty sure I can do that. And the candidate information guide was done by Steve Federley, who did a fantastic job.
Really good.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That was better than better.
Yes.
That was really a good piece of work, Steve.
Jeannie, that answered all of my questions.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, we are gonna do Fairfield City Council District 1.
So, oh, never mind. So while people are voting, if I could, in Fairfield, both George Kennedy and Kay Patrice submitted questionnaires to the Sierra Club and the Orderly Growth Committee. They both did really good questionnaires. I don't want to tell you where we went, but Doris never responded. So Fairfield City Council. And just again, to let folks know, Doris has endorsed Tim, who's a Republican, running against Wanda Williams for Board of Supervisors. So again, Doris is an incredibly nice person. I think she represents her district well. but in my opinion, not doing a great job of voting Dems writ large.
Hi, can I step in? This is
Sure.
Doris. So
Before you do that, just let me end the poll.
Thank
and
you.
let you know that Fairfield City Council District 1 has one option, so you can pick either K. Patrice Williams, George Kennedy, or no preference. You can't pick both. That was just for other people.
May I ask a question before you close that poll?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Are all the candidates that spoke to us, are they actually Democrats?
Yes. Every candidate that has been an option for endorsement, Dawn goes through and meticulously checks their voter registration information.
All right, thank you.
Okay, can I, before we continue this conversation, I would like to actually say that I think that having comments at this particular moment while we are voting is probably not as helpful as it could be. I think that maybe we will have to re-examine how we are going to proceed. I would like to give Doris the chance to respond because that was put out to the group. But then going forward, I would like to encourage the group to either share comments in the chat or to express them later. Doris, did you want to respond?
Yes, thank you, Jeannie. So Dwayne, I did message you directly when you made the comment earlier about me not submitting my interview, the endorsement questionnaire. I let you know that I had not seen it and that I was still willing to turn it in if it was, I know you guys have already did the endorsement process, but I was more than willing to still submit it. And number two, I have not, and I did not endorse Chuck Tim, if you're referring to him as the, and if that was endorsing him, the website is no longer up. My name is not down. My name is not there anymore. I did let him know a couple of times and he did let me know. He did show me where he was letting his consultant know to bring down my name. So that was a miscommunication between both of us, as I have explained before. And my name is no longer listed. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's continue on with the voting and I think that we should probably just reserve our opinions at least at this point to our voting actions. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we're on Fairfield City Council District 3. Okay, looks like we're missing one person. I'm going to end the poll now. Okay, we're going to go for Fairfield City Council D5 and go. Okay, it's like we're waiting for one or two more people. Give you one more second and ending poll now. And then we're gonna go. Sassoon City Mayor. Launching poll. It'll be fine, Jeannie, I promise. She's sending me private chats, but I'm airing her dirty laundry. Okay, we're ending poll now. Okay, we are doing Sassoon City Council. This is an at-large seat. You can pick 2 options. Launching poll. Okay, and go ahead and end poll now. Okay. And then next we have Vacaville Mayor. All right. And I think we pretty much got everybody, so we're gonna end that poll. Now we are gonna do City Council District 2. It's the word it's going. Okay. And we're gonna end that poll coming out and now. Okay, next, Vacaville City Council D4. More seconds. Okay. Next, City Council D6. Okay. And we'll end that question at poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. And everything else is, that's all the polls. Well, that's all the endorsement polls. And we can readmit Chauncey back in. We can readmit Chauncey back in, right?
I'm sorry.
We can readmit Chauncey back in.
Well, we're going to be going over our.
We have some other things. Yeah, we have some other.
Which the candidates should not be present for.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about endorsement, the postcards right now. So perhaps
So all candidates are actually going to need to be removed to the waiting room.
Yeah.
So yes, Anna, results will be posted by Friday. So I do apologize for letting you in, Chauncey. We are going to take you back out. We are doing something that we cannot have candidates in.
And Kate Patrice, I think we will have to ask you to leave too.
She already did.
Thank you.
Let's see, if you are working on a campaign, like
me, I need to get out.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Your campaign too.
I know. All right. Is there anything else, or is this going to be the end of the meeting then for me?
I mean, we just have two more things to do. We're going to do the, actually Dawn is going to do the treasurer's report very quickly. And then we're going to talk briefly about the endorsement postcards. So
Oh, okay, well, then we can do the treasurer's report first, though, right?
yes.
And then I'll leave.
Yeah.
All right. Are we pulling that up, Julia?
Dawn, I don't, it's too late for me, man, I don't know what's going on.
I understand. So we raised $2,665 at our garden party. We had another $295 in dues and contributions for total contributions of $2,960. We had expenses of $827.86, including the headquarters contribution, the park deposit, a gift basket for our hostess for the garden party in Act Blue. Our ending general fund balance at the end of August, actually $18,236.09. We also received a contribution of $50 to our candidate fund. So our ending balance of the candidate fund is $3,750. I also want to point out that we received, in addition to the funds we raised at the garden party, we received in-kind contributions well in excess of $2,000 from various club members. That includes food, wine, silent auction items. On behalf of the entire board, I'm very appreciative and thank you for your generous donations. Some of you, I think, part of me wants to encourage you to take another look at your checkbooks and maybe calm down a bit in your generosity. But thank you so much for supporting our efforts and the good work we did at our garden party is one of the reasons we were comfortable in canceling our scheduled tacos in the park event. So that is where our balance is on the treasurer's. And when we've cleared our candidates, we'll move into our next item of business.
Stop share. Okay, now we will get everybody out. Let's see. Mary, you said you were.
Please move me to.
Yeah, probably Rita will probably have to go. She is a candidate as well.
Yeah, I thought you already left.
Nope, she was still there.
Steve and Nancy, I believe, are also on a campaign.
Julia, do you want me to go too?
Yeah, I gotcha. Oh, are you on? You in the waiting room. Bridget, are you on a campaign? I'm also gonna end the recording.